Right, so this general rule of optimization that less is more when it comes to speed does not only apply to the size or weight of our site's JavaScript, CSS, its images, etc., but also to whether or not any of those things, JavaScript and CSS specifically, are getting in the way of the speed with which things start to appear, the speed with which our web page begins to render. Render blocking JavaScript and CSS negatively affect a few different metrics critical to our speed optimization plight, and we will discuss those metrics in detail in the next section of the course, section 3. As you'll likely remember from lecture 10, both JavaScript and CSS, when included in your site's source code as HTTP requests, will block rendering. They stop the browser's ability to do anything else with the page until they are analyzed or parsed and applied by the browser. Of particular concern is the blocking of rendering of the very first things your site's users are supposed to see, whatever content fits inside the user's screen without them scrolling. Or, said differently, everything above the fold, which is a phrase actually that has been taken from print media, generally indicating the most valuable real estate on the page of a newspaper, for example. Why getting rid of render blocking JavaScript and CSS in above-the-fold content is foundational to the WordPress web performance architecture you will learn how to implement in future lectures should be pretty much self-evident. We want to deliver the very first things the end user is supposed to see on our pages, everything above the fold, not just as quickly as possible, but also prior to anything else that falls below the fold. Anything that falls below the fold, anything that the user has to scroll to see, can wait. We want the time between their clicking a link to our site and the appearance of content sufficient to fill their screen to be as close to instantaneous as is possible. By eliminating the JavaScript and CSS responsible for increasing the time between a user clicking a link to our site and the appearance of content, we bridge that very gap. The particular methods with which you will eliminate render blocking JavaScript and CSS in your site's above-the-fold content are covered later. But let's say some things about asynchronous resources as they relate very closely with eliminating render blocking JavaScript and CSS.